All right, welcome. This is the Module 7 Review Sheet Solution. This is basically covering Module 7 in the tech book, but it's also considered the district's Unit C and D test. Okay, which is basically Chapter 6 and Chapter 4 in the book. All right, so number 1. The local swim team has 2 great swimmers, and their data is shown here. The first swimmer is swimming in a rate in this table given here, and the second swimmer is graphed right here, but it's on a graph. Which is a proportional relationship and which is not? Include all necessary work to support your answer. So there are 2 criteria for it to be a proportional relationship. It has to be a constant slope, so a constant rate of change, and it has to start at 0, 0. Here, it looks like the first swimmer does start at 0, 0. So let's look at the delta y first. Right, from 0 to 65, you are adding 65. So in 4 minutes, the distance traveled is 65 meters. Then 2 more seconds occur, and the swimmer swam 49. Then after that, 4 more seconds, it's 251. All right. So this doesn't make sense. The swimmer is not swimming at a constant rate because you see the delta y's. They're not consistent. But let's look at swimmer 2. Does start at 0, 0. And the fact that the slope is linear, you would say that it is a constant slope. So you would say that swimmer 2 has a proportional relationship. Next, this is number 2, or part 2. A bad Fortnite player earns roughly around 125 experience per match. The graph here is the line on the coordinate grid below shows the total amount of experience gained as a function of the total matches played. Please understand that the x-axis is also considered your input, and that is the amount of matches. So he plays 1 matches at a time, which means your delta x is plus 1. The output is considered your y-axis, and that is your total experience earned per match. Here, the question says he earns 125 experience per match. So delta y is equal to 125. So I graph this. Let's see if it made sense. The first point is 1, 125 because that is your x is 1, your y is 125. So 2 would be at 2 matches, and a total would be 250. 3 would be 3 and 375, and 4 would be 4, 500. Right? So notice this has a constant linear growth, which is a linear equation. So this would be the graph that describes how much the Fortnite player earns in experience per match. I would like you to review the 4 types of slope. Please understand that you're reading it from left to right. So remember, you're dropping the person down on this equation. So here you drop the person down. The line rises from left to right, therefore it is positive. Drop the person here. The line falls from left to right. It would be negative. Drop down the person. It is a horizontal line, so you would say the slope is 0. You drop the person. He just falls. You would say it is an undefined slope. So what is the slope of this line in the graph? What we do is we drop that person. It is a horizontal line, so we would say that the slope here is 0. Okay, that is your first page. Let me do the second page here as well. A line is graphed below. Write an equation in the form y equals mx plus b that represents this line. Please understand that slope is equal to m is equal to delta y over delta x. Please look for your delta y first. So how much did it go down? 1, 2, 3, 4. We will say that delta y is equal to negative 4. The reason why it's negative 4 is because it's going down. Okay, how much is it going to the right? We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we would say delta x is equal to 5. Alright, so you plug it into the slope formula. M is equal to -4/5. Next, we want to look for the y-intercept. The y-intercept is defined as the point where the line crosses the x-axis, which looks like it's right here. The point in which it crosses is at 0, 3, so we would say the y-intercept, which use the letter b, would be b is equal to 3. Plugging it into y equals mx plus b, you get y is equal to -4 divided by 5x plus 3. That would be the linear equation that describes this line. Next, number 5. Jacob got 6 pounds of candy during Halloween. He doesn't want to get a stomach ache, so he, it's supposed to be he, decides to only eat 0.2 pounds of candy per day. Write an equation in 2 variables to describe how many candies is left over as a function of time when he eats it. Explain what each variable means in your equation. So I use y equal mx plus b because we use slope-intercept form of the equation of a line because Jacob eats a constant amount of candy per day. He eats 0.2 pounds of candy per day. That's why I decided to use y equals mx plus b. M stands for the slope, which is the rate of change, right? It is, so you're looking for the word per or each to get the rate of change. In here, it says only eat 0.2 pounds of candy per day. So we would say that the slope is equal to -0.2. B, which is the y-intercept. It is considered a starting value. So you are looking for something of starting value. Here it's the 6 pounds of candy he eats per day. Oh, I would like to mention something. The reason why the slope here is -0.2 is because he's actually eating that candy. He's getting rid of that candy. That's why it's a negative. Okay? And he starts off with 6 pounds of candy. So it should look like y is equal to -0.2x plus 6. It's plus 6 because he has a physical amount of 6 pounds of candy and he's minusing 0.2 pounds a day because he's physically eating it. Okay? We have 6 here. The graph shows the distance traveled during a road trip, but between which hours did the road trip is the fastest. When you understand that you're looking for the largest slope for the fastest speed. In this case, let's look at a line. This is basically 0, right? He's not even moving. There's no speed because distance isn't changing. This is fast. This is faster, right? The slope gets higher. This would be the fastest because the slope is the steepest. Okay, let's review that. Fast, faster, fastest, so forth. They're looking for the steepness. So you want to look for where the what time has the largest slope or the steepest slope, and it would be from 2, 2 to 2.5. It would be here at, oops, sorry, it is here at 2 to 2.5. 2 to 2.5. Okay, that slope is the steepest. I could even, okay, good. And 7. Using the angle relationship in the figure below to solve for x, assume line A and B are parallel. This gives us something very interesting. Do you see how it says A and B are parallel? Right? Or parallel. We can apply our properties of transformations of angles within parallel lines. So I'm going to move that 6x plus 5 here up. Okay, I can just slide it up. Why? Because it is A and B are parallel. Okay, you could look at your notes to help you remember why we're allowed to do that. So I noticed that these two angles are supplementary because here's the arc forms 180 degrees. So the supplementary angles here add up to 180. So we would say angle A plus angle B is equal to 180 degrees. So plug it in. Angle A was 7x plus 13 and angle B was 6x plus 5. That's how it looks like once you distribute that 1. Right? We got rid of the parentheses. So what is 7x plus 6x? That becomes 13x. want you to make sure that you understand how I'm getting it. 7x and 6x here becomes 13x. Alright, 13 and 5 remains there. Okay, that 13x plus 18 is the next step. Where am I getting that? I'm getting it from 13 here, and 5's right there. Okay, so 13x plus 18 is equal to 180. Subtract 18 to both sides, you get 162 comes down. 13x is right there. Divide by 13 to both sides, divide 13 to both sides, you get x roughly around 12.46. Okay, or roughly 162 divided by 13. Not sure what that looks like in proper fraction. But there you go. This is basically how hard as it gets when it comes to a system like this. Please be careful about how you're solving for the variable, as well as making sure you're setting up the equation correctly. Okay, but that's your homework. That's basically your review sheet solution. I covered basically page 1 and 2. The next section is going to cover 3 and 4. Okay.